name is Steve Rothenberg. I'm the proud director of the CRTC. And you are here today for an annual event. Most of you are seeing this for the second time, which is what we call our Alumni Return to CRTC Assembly. My opinion and what I hear from many students is this is a really worthwhile experience. It's a worthwhile experience because I think many of us are accustomed, especially for most of you who are seniors in this room, with a lot of people asking you the question, what are you going to be doing next year? I'm a believer that we've put a lot of pressure into that question. That question is loaded. People want it, quite often when they ask you that question, they want a specific answer. And I don't think that's very healthy. So it's our belief at CRTC, and I think you know this, that there are many roads to take, and there's not one road to get where you want to go. We're really privileged to have about 20 plus or minus alumni come back. We're really privileged in addition because they're diverse. The people who are going to talk to you today did not just take one road. I think you're going to hear this very quickly about how many different roads they took to get where they're going. The structure of this, with me as the host, is my job is to sort of get the right questions and pull some information out. We'll be here for about 45 minutes or so, plus or minus, and hopefully by the end of it, it really leads to some good discussions in your class, and these folks will come back to your class and talk to you for a little bit. I do caution that we don't have every program represented, but we're in pretty good shape on that front. So your program may not be here exactly, but I think you'll get a lot out of the conversation. My last before we get started is just this time of year is very timely. We gave our first roadshow presentation to Pembroke Academy yesterday, and a number of students in here helped out, which we thank. I just want to remind you of the most common thing to say. We are not the U.S. history class. We are not the biology class. Those classes are part of a mandatory program for high school. You know this. Every single person here chooses to be here. But for us to recruit the next crew of kids in here, the current sophomores and the current freshmen for the most part, the best by far representative is you. So anything you can do in the process of helping us talk to students and talk to families is appreciated. I know that your teachers are going to ask you to help us in some ways, and in other ways you're going to do it informally. Someone's going to walk up to you in the lunchroom, they're going to see you at the movies, or they're going to see you wherever you are and say, hey, I know you're in the construction trades program or cosmetology or whatever it is. How is it? That little conversation is the game changer for us. It is not the conversation with me, for sure. It's really about those conversations. So any way you can tell our story, we always appreciate, and we need your help. We survive because of you. We take nothing for granted. That's really the essence of this business. We are not an automatic class. So without further ado, let me get started here. We're very privileged to have these folks up, and we have a couple of microphones that are all hooked together right in the middle right now. So what we'd like to do to start is, I'm going to modify it slightly, just a quick statement. Your name, the program you graduated, add one more thing, the year you graduated high school, okay, because I think we missed that last time, so you get perspective on some ages and folks. And lastly, what you're doing now. Okay, so we'll start right in the middle, is that okay? We'll go that way?
Yeah. My name is Jory Galucci. I graduated from Teacher Prep in 2017, and I'm currently going to Manuel College. Hi, my name is Kaylee Lane. I was in the health science program. I graduated in 2016, and right now I'm going to NHGI for nursing, and I'm also in the National Guard.
I'm Julia Berry. I graduated from health science as well, but in 2017, and I'm currently at the University of New England for nursing.
Hi, I'm Heather. I graduated from health science and technology in 2015. I'm at the University of Delaware, and I'm a junior nursing major, and I'm also a licensed nursing assistant at Dartmouth Hitchcock Medical Center in Lebanon.
Hi, I'm Zoe Vino. I graduated from computer science 2017, and I'm in Manchester Community College for cybersecurity.
Hi, I'm Stephen Butler. I graduated in construction technology in 2017, and I go to Norwich University for construction management.
Connor Stackos. I graduated from criminal justice last year. Right now I'm at Endicott College, and I'm completing an internship with Allenstown Police Department.
Hi, I'm Brian DeFranzo, and I graduated criminal justice in 2017. And right now I go to St. Anselm College.
My name is Cameron Downing. I graduated automotive in 2014. I'm currently working at Pony Ford as a technician.
My name is Oliver Noble. I graduated from the automotive program in Concord High in 2015 and went to White Mountains Community College in Berlin and graduated this last May, and now I work full-time at New England Kenworth in Concord.
My name is Dylan Mason. I graduated from the culinary program in 2012. I went to New England Culinary Institute, graduated in 2015 with my associates, and now I'm a lead line cook at Bedford Village Inn.
I'm Franklin Donato. I graduated the Theater Technical and Design course 2017. I'm currently a pharmacy technician at Walgreens, and I'm going to be starting slew in the spring, which is in a week.
I'm Alex True. I graduated graphic arts in 2012, went to Plymouth State, graduated in 2016. I currently work as a manager at Manchester Country Club. Essentially, it's fancy farming.
I'm Louise Murphy. I graduated from the graphic design program here at CRTC in 2012, graduated from SNHU in 2016, and I'm currently a graphic designer at Hawthorne Creative in Portsmouth, New Hampshire.
I'm Cassie Carey. I graduated from cosmetology in 2016, and I'm currently in school at Christian Michael Academy and lining up my job in New York City for when I graduate. I'm Maddie Frederick. I just graduated in 2016, and I finished cosmetology school a few months ago.
I'm Brittany Leonard, and I was in the cosmetology program. I graduated last year in 2017, and I'm also attending Christian Michael Academy.
I'm Allison Arkian. I graduated 2017, the cosmetology program, and I'm at Paul Mitchell in Tampa, Florida.
Nice. Okay, so we have a spectrum of graduates from 2012 all the way up to 2017. So my first question is similar to the last round, is looking back over the past stretch of time, what's a really good decision, good things worked out for you, or possibly a bad decision that you've learned from as you sort of take the path that you've taken? And as we talk, I'll ask you to clarify the path. So who would like to go first? Share something. Good, we'll go here, then go down that way.
So I went out of state for my schooling, and I wasn't really fully aware of taking my hours, and that was definitely a bad decision on my part because I basically wasted my 2 years of CRTC. I kept the knowledge, but I didn't keep the hours, and it could have saved me a lot of money and time in school.
What was the appeal of going to Florida or going out of state?
It's Florida.
As evidenced by the past week.
Yeah, I mean, it's 70 there right now, which is really nice. And I have family down there, and I just wanted to get as far away as possible. So
that's also part of the mix. Yeah. Who else? Who's next? We can let's pass the mic down. And anybody else has a mic, just jump into.
My senior year, I decided, in the college search process, to do overnights, which was a huge help. I did an overnight at 2 colleges, the one I'm currently attending, and Curry College, and it definitely helped a lot because when you do a tour, you don't really see everything. I was able to go to different dorms, I was able to eat the food at the college, and that really helped with my decision-making process, so try to do an overnight if you can.
When you did the overnight, what made you do it? Or is it your own idea or something the school offered you to do?
It was my own idea. My cousin went to the University of New England already, so I just asked her if I could stay with her just to see what it was like. And then I decided to do it with Curry because I was in contact with a softball coach there, so he wanted me to do an overnight there and see if I liked it or not.
Good, thank you.
One of the best things I did was ask for help, and just ask questions, ask for things I wanted, especially when applying to colleges. If I wanted an interview, if I wanted to do something like an overnight, if I wanted a tour, and if you call them and ask them, they're more than willing to help you out. I also asked for extra scholarships. They gave them to me. I asked for help with my applications from the people I knew and trusted, and they gave me help. Once I got to college, I was like, oh, I got this, I'm good. And then I was diagnosed with a lot of allergies and seasonal specific allergies, and realized that I was going to need special housing and things like that. And I was like, I don't know how to do this, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I asked for help, and they put me in a special dorm with an air conditioner and everything, and asking for help with their classes. Just ask for help if you need it, and people are so willing to help you.
we can jump around too. Dylan, do you want to add something? You got a mic there. Yeah.
So the best thing I did was pursuing scholarship opportunities. I went to state's competition. I placed one of the years, got a bunch of scholarship money to go to the Culinary Institute. College was never really in the mix for me, and that kind of gave me the opportunity to pursue my career and my education.
So Dylan, I was sort of calling you. Here you are, you've got these scholarships, you're in the CRTC program, but from a standpoint of where was your head when you were a sophomore or a junior, early junior?
I was just kind of going through the everyday life of a high school kid. I never really cared about my grades. I was just like go in, get my homework done. Sometimes a lot of it I would procrastinate, slack off, and I would just do enough just to get through my courses, D student, C student, until I joined the culinary program here at CRTC, and it kind of gave me a new drive to take pride in my education.
Good. Again, I'll repeat the question. Something good you did, something that worked out for you well, or something not the best choice you made, and how you reflect on it. So, go ahead. What's your Zoe?
So this is something bad I did. I bit off more than I can chew. I ended up overscheduling myself, and I took a bit more classes than I probably should, which added more to the stress.
So you're at Manchester Community College.
Yep.
And your first semester there, you weren't quite ready for a full load.
No.
Yeah. And what happened when that occurred? Like, did you lose money? How did you unwind yourself from being overloaded?
So I'm probably going to be doing part-time this semester. I definitely I probably lost a scholarship for that.
Good. Oliver, Kim?
I agree. Just like scholarships are huge because I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do when I was a senior. I was still in the automotive program and still worked a lot and had a lot of different options, but I didn't know which way I wanted to go yet until I did my internship through the automotive program, which is where I work now. And when that happened, I kind of realized that that's the path I want to go down. And then I did just visualize, here you are, age 17, that doing your internship at Kenworth. What was it that, why was that a good move, and what happened there that sort of gave you the focus you're describing? Well, I worked with one person in specific that kind of took me under his wing and taught me a tremendous amount in those few months that I was there, and the work that they just happened to be doing, that guy that helped me, really made me open my eyes and want to.
Does he still work there?
He doesn't. He's gone. But he's doing other things. I'm still friends with him, but.
Good. So it's just this one person. Whatever it was, that one person was a tipping point for you to get focused.
Yeah, and then I did the skills competition through the automotive program and won it at the state level and got $7,000 worth of scholarships to go to any automotive-related program through the New Hampshire Community College system, and was able to use that for the diesel program in Berlin. And before that, I didn't plan on going to college. I planned on, they had offered me a job where I work now, and I was just going to go start working down there and go into the specific training like what CAM does, but I decided to push that off. I still worked there part-time while I was in school and commuted back and forth between Berlin.
Nice. Stephen?
One of my poor decisions was actually having pretty poor study habits. So during high school, I was able to skate by with pretty good grades, and I didn't study all the time like I should have. If I studied, I would have had a better GPA. It was a good GPA, but it could have been better. And then in college, those same study habits kind of carried over, and a lot of you probably have the same or similar study habits that I had where, yeah, I'll look at the book once, but that's about all I'll do. That will not help you at all in the future. You really want to start packing down on a better study habit now if you want to do good in the future.
You're reflecting on your Norwich now.
Yep.
And just to give us a quick glimpse, what's your study patterns like?
Very sporadic. The time that I have is spread out throughout the day. I have certain, they're really short periods, maybe like an hour, hour and a half of time that I'll have throughout the day. But a lot of the studying I have to do is after 10 o'clock at night. I'll probably stay up until about 11 or 11:30 most nights to do studying. And then I have to get up at 5:30 the following morning for the rest of my life there.
Good. I'll come down here. Louise, let me get I'll give you this microphone.
I think a good decision that I made was learning how to take initiative on my own education. So you can't rely on school to teach you everything. So going above and beyond what you're being asked to do in the classroom to make your work just even that little bit better really sets you up for success in the long run. I think it makes you more employable, and I also think that it shows that you're willing to go that extra step. That was one thing that I always did.
Can you think of an example? Would be more specific?
Yeah, so in college we would get a project and we would have a spec sheet of all of the points that we had to hit on that project. And if you hit that, you get maybe a B or an A. But I always tried to add a little something extra to each project that I did, and it always got me high praise and critiques in class. But also when I put together my portfolio, when I was looking for jobs, my work was just that much better than what my other classmates were graduating with. So just taking that initiative to go the extra step, and that doesn't necessarily have to be in your work either. Taking initiative to learn how to write a resume correctly, learning how to write a cover letter correctly, sending a thank you note after you have an interview with somebody. Just taking those little steps can really make a difference as far as presenting you as a good candidate and just helping you grow as as an employee or a potential employee and just as a person.
Do you feel, just a quick answer, do you feel as if when you were at Southern New Hampshire, you had more of a focus on where you were going compared to other people?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, okay. Good. Anybody else? Something good, something not so good?
Something good I did was definitely taking advantage of the opportunities and going above and beyond, like she said, and getting super involved and hands-on with
Give us an example what you mean.
Like going to international trade shows or staying extra long at job shadows, just getting my name out there, and cosmetology definitely gave me the confidence to do that. So instead of being super anxious and completely blind when I'm walking into the biggest international hair shows, then I'm not, and I understand what's going on, and I get super excited about what's going on. Also, something super good that people probably think isn't that important is Spur, because the whole interview process is 10 times easier now. I'm not nearly as afraid, and I just have a lot more confidence from it.
All right, Cam, down there.
I'd say the biggest thing is this whole CRTC program. You can kind of take advantage of it. Whether you're going to pursue what you're doing now in whatever class you are in, whether it's automotive, construction, cosmetology, anything, it can make a huge difference on what you want to do. All through high school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was barely a C student. Didn't like going to school. And then once I went to my internship, once I got into the automotive program, it really kind of opened my eyes to this is what I want to do. I want to work on cars every day, which, not a lot of people want to do, but I interned at Carboni, and it's where I am now. Over 3.5 years I've been there since I started there a week after I graduated high school.
I guess you could say something good that happened to you was you were at Market Basket. Who walked in?
My boss.
Yeah. Your boss, your current boss.
Yeah, my current boss, he walked in and said, hey, let me know when you turn 18. Well, I was 18 my whole senior year. I'm like, well, I'm 18 now. He's like, oh, you want to jump? And it started from there.
That's great. Anybody else? Franklin down there.
Mine's a bad thing.
Okay.
So one thing, my senior year, I wasn't as focused as other people should have been, or I should have been, and so I ended up taking a semester off to work, which is great. I love working, I love making money, I love spending money. However, I think if you're going to take time off, I think you should take a year off instead of a semester, only because when I went to go to apply to colleges, many of the financial aid was already given out, scholarships are already taken care of, so if you're going to do a semester off, that some financial aid might not be available to you.
So what you didn't know ahead of time was it may have been better sort of do a year and pull all together. Because you're paying a little more money now to go back the second semester. Good. Let me just ask a quick question, everybody on the stage. In your travels, some of you are done with college. How many people here were pursuing a four-year degree? Okay. How many people here were pursuing an associate's degree? How many people here were pursuing a certificate or a license? How many people here were somewhere in the middle, something like military? Good. So let me ask a question. As you juggle your life, this is a classic sort of CRTC question, is unique to us. You're going down your road, and that road might be going straight to work, it might be pursuing a license, doing a four-year degree. As a reflective statement for the people in this audience here, how do you balance during this process work, education, social life? You know, what does it look like? What do all these things look like that clearly in high school you would have no idea? Whatever you anticipated just didn't turn out that way. So let me start with Madison over here and we'll work our way that way. So work, education, and social life, personal life.
I would say you definitely learn how to balance it because once you start school, you meet new people, and at your job, you get to know your coworkers. So when it's time to study, you go study. But when you're in school and at work, you can kind of meet new people as well. So it has to be even out because you might not always have. I know some people who go through health science, they have grueling processes of studying, and so they have to focus on that. So I can understand why a lot of it happens at school and at work.
How demanding was your life when you were in cosmetology school, for example? I mean, how did your day work out? Without going details, but overview of it.
Well, I'd say I had it a little bit easier just because Kim set us up with so much success. I knew that book in and out before I even started school. So I mean, I didn't even need to fill out the homework online that everyone else needed to do to get through it. I just did my tests and went. So I was more so just focused on the actual physical, working on the mannequin and people as opposed to.
Were you working also while you were in school?
Yeah, so I would get out of school and I'd go straight to work until 10, 11 o'clock at night every night, and then same thing next day, and I had an hour drive to school.
So it's a busy window.
Busy.
Who's next? Balancing it all, work, social, and education.
So a big thing is I personally don't work in college, but I'll start next semester. But with work and social life, a big thing that we do at my school, or me and my friends, is you set up one day where you have off and you don't have to do a ton of homework, and it gives you time to relax and a break from all the stress because you have 4 classes a day.
You feel a high level of stress at college?
Some days, because particularly a lot of teachers will assign a lot of work around the same time because of deadlines for assessments and stuff.
How would you compare the stress level of college compared to high school?
It's a little more stressful just because you have to manage your free time. Particularly in high school, you have a specific schedule and you have to be here from such and such time, where in college you have so much more free time, and it's really easy, especially when you're in a big city, to just want to go out and do all this fun stuff and blow off your work because you have so much time to do it all.
Okay, keep going on. How to balance. Steven, you want to take this next one and we'll swing it back over there?
I gotta say, I hate beating the dead horse, but time management is easily the most useful skill you will have in your future, whether you're going to work or school or whatever. When you're in school, one of the hard things to do is have a decent social life because you're trying to study and keep your grades up and make sure you have a side job so that you can pay for stuff. Make sure that when you are there, that you take some of your study time and devote that towards having some kind of a social life, because otherwise you're just going to burn yourself out and you're going to be worn out and tired the entire time you're in school, regardless of what you're doing.
Do you see people like that?
Look at me.
Yeah, I see one right here. Yeah, you get burned out. I mean, it's exhausting. And it's worth noting too that obviously you're up here, you're in a uniform, you're going to a school that has a strong military element to it. So your day, I mean, quickly, take that microphone back for a quick sec. Just give people just a 30-second overview. Typical day, when it starts and when it ends at your school.
So my day would start at 5:30 in the morning. I get up and then at about 5:40 I have to go out and do PT, which is just excessive exercise. That ends around 6:30, 6:40. I get dressed in the uniform of the day, and then we go to morning formation for raising the flag. Sometimes I'm the one that raises the flag, actually. 8 o'clock classes start. Classes go up until about 4 or 5 o'clock. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I have extra training for a specialty unit I'm going out for. And then the day ends at around 10 o'clock at night, but I don't go till about 11:30.
So it's a long day. Good.
So just like know what's important. When I'm at school, I do just school. The time management is a little weird because there are like days when I don't have classes or days when my class is at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That's my only class of the day. So I have to still wake up early, still do all my studying, and then both when I'm at school and when I'm at home, I sort of surround myself with people who are like-minded. They also want to do nothing but study all day long every day, or work a lot. So it's
probably worth sharing a little bit about your scholarships, and you mentioned it last time. The fact that maybe you're not doing work, but some things have paid off you in a different way.
Yeah, so at my college, I went in with some scholarships, and then I got really good grades freshman year, and they gave me more scholarships, and they repeat, so I get them every year. And then I did really well sophomore year, and they gave me more scholarships, and I didn't ask for them. They just kind of like sent me a letter during the summer, and they were like, hey, we're giving you like $5,000 a year extra. So because I didn't have a job, I was able to study more and get better grades, and they gave me more scholarships than I would have been able to, or more money in scholarships than I would have been able to make for a job. However, while I'm at home, I do nothing but work. I work like up to 60 hours a week, and that's pretty much just all I do, that and sleep, and sometimes I eat. And so
You're working at Dartmouth Hitchcock up 11 as an LNA?
I work at Dartmouth Hitchcock up in Lebanon. I'm an LNA. I'm a float. I go everywhere in the hospital. I get to see all kinds of crazy things. It is wonderful for nursing school because I've just seen everything.
And what do you make per hour?
I make $18 an hour plus shift differential.
Which is?
So that's, if I'm working on a weekend, I get $3 extra per hour, so I'll make $21 an hour. If I work at night, like between 7 p.m. and 7 a.m., I'll make $2 extra an hour. So that's $20 an hour, so I can make up to $23 an hour if I'm working nights on weekends.
Good. All right, balance. Someone we haven't heard from yet. Good.
So being ambitious is really important, but being over-ambitious is sometimes very, very stressful, and you need to know when to say no. Right now, I'm in the New Hampshire National Guard, and I'm also going to school for nursing, and I'm also a dance teacher, and I also babysit sometimes, and I also am part of the New Hampshire Honor Guard, which they perform honors at military funerals. So right now is a very stressful point in my life. I'm doing so many different things, and there's so many different elements to those different things. I have to know specific things about each job I'm doing. So I think one thing you can take away from what I'm saying now is knowing when to say no, knowing your boundaries, knowing your limits.
Would you have anticipated this much action when you were, most of these guys are seniors here? I mean, did you see this level of growth coming that would be so demanding?
Yes and no. I didn't know it would be this much, but I've definitely been ambitious my whole life, as of you, because you are in the CRTC program. That's ambitious. You're taking the extra step. You are setting yourself apart from the others at the school. But when you get to college, I feel it's very important. You need to time manage, as was said before. So, yeah.
Let me go back down. Someone hasn't spoken yet. I think. Go ahead. Yep. And then right down there.
So for me, I do not work at school. I only work when I'm home. I decided to do 2 jobs, which kind of stunk over the summer because I had at most 1 day off a week, so I didn't really have a social life over the summer. But I was making money, which was nice. And then when I got to school, I wasn't really good with time management, so my friend helped me with that. He looked at my schedule and put specific times into my calendar, so I got reminders every day, like when to do homework for each specific class. And I also put into my schedule like a workout schedule so I could still fit everything in. And I play club field hockey, so that's 2 days a week, which isn't a huge deal, but it's...
So your calendar is a big part of your life.
What's that?
Your online calendar is a big part of your life.
Yes, time management is a huge thing, and using calendar.
Let me move it down here. I'll pass it down a bit. There you go.
Yeah, at Endicott I don't really have a huge balance of work in school. When I'm there, kind of like Delia said, I'm focused on just schoolwork. I'm completing my internship in the winter because
You didn't do the internship at the same time as school, separate time?
Yeah, no, it's separate times. And that makes it easier because I was able to look for places around here. And the connection that I had to my internship site was a kid that I took criminal justice with. His mother is the sergeant in Allenstown, so I was able to...
How's that internship working out?
It's going great. I'm working right now 2 to 11, Wednesday through Saturday, going out and doing ride-alongs with her and the other field training officers. And then when I'm in the office, I've been working with filing evidence and entering warning slips into the system.
Thanks. Down there. Cam, grab the microphone for me, will you? So I'm going to ask you about time management. So, Cam, you're out there straight to the working world. You know, your education has come in a different way. Could you tell us a little bit about how your education has been delivered, which is not in a college setting, a very, very different kind of setup? Can you talk a little about how Ford has offered you opportunities and how you manage that time also?
So for mine, I don't pay anything for school. I get paid to go to school. It's not a set time, like I'm not at school half the year or anything like that. It's a week here, a week there, 2 days here, 3 days there. So basically, I do my normal work, and then when it gets slow, or when I first started working at Capone, my boss told me to get on my online training. So I have to go through all my online training, and then from there, I get waitlisted for each section. So say steering suspension or climate control, and so on. Once I complete each one of those, then I get waitlisted for the class. Once the class opens up, and it's in Southborough, Mass. About an hour and 40 minutes probably from here in Concord. Drive down there. Once I get into the class, depending on what it is, like I said, it could be the whole week, it could be just a couple days, and that's each one of my certifications. I get paid while I'm down there. And yeah, it's pretty much...
So the path you're on is a path of a technician at Ford. And I want to ask you a time question that's a little different. So right now when you work at Ford, you're paid hourly?
I'm paid flat rate, so I'm paid by the job. So say for instance, you do an oil change and a tire rotation, that pays 7/10 of an hour. So there's pros and cons to it. You can either make a lot of money off it, so say a brake job pays 2 hours. I can do a brake job in a half hour. That's money in my pocket. But say something goes wrong with that and it only pays 2 hours and it took me 2.5, now I'm losing money. So I started out hourly to begin with, but from there I kind of progressed on. I wanted to make more money. I started getting my certifications where the certs bring you more money because that's more work that you can do.
Do you like it better in that model?
Yeah.
And you're working hard?
It definitely gives you the drive. You want to stay busy. That's definitely for sure. I know, like Oliver, I know he's hourly. Depending on what field you kind of go into, it kind of can go back and forth. But being flat rate, it definitely gave me more drive from when I was hourly. It makes me push myself harder. It makes me work faster. It makes me more focused on what I need to do and what I need to get done throughout the day.
Good. Cassie, I want to come back to you. So from a time management standpoint, balancing it all, is my last person I want to talk about this. You've had an interesting past year and a half, plus or minus. Can you reflect on what your plans were and then how you had to adjust your time a little bit, money?
Yeah, so me and Brittany, we go to the same school, and it's a brand new school. We're the first class, so it's a little different than all the other hair schools. So it wasn't governmentally accredited, which means we couldn't get any financial aid or scholarships through it. So basically that means we just have to pay tuition all by ourselves. So my original plan was to go to school in New York City. Plans fell through. I'm still going to go there afterwards, but that's just to work. But plans fell through, so I had to work 3 jobs since graduation, and I paid $23,000, and I'm going to graduate hair school debt-free. So he's asking about time management. All my friends went to college right away. It was by the time I was working all those jobs, they were all going to college. So I didn't really have the balance going to see them or anything like that. I just had to just strictly work and pay for it, and it's...
You saved how much money?
$23,000.
Over 15 months span or so?
Yeah, a little less.
Yeah, so you just really committed yourself to saving every penny?
Yeah.
That's great, okay. So the cost of education is quite a bit, and I just want to cover this briefly. You know, Norwich, how much is it per year?
About $56,000.
Endicott, 56,000. St. A's, 59,000 a year. Caponi Ford, free. There you go. Sorry. Southern New Hampshire, how much is it? Franklin? You don't know? Okay. 41,000 plus or minus? Okay, so you get these numbers that are incredible amounts of money. Obviously, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year, which is mind-boggling. I think if I was sitting in the audience right now, I just don't even know how I would deal with that kind of money. So you had this, here you are, you're either 1 year out or 6 years out. You had expenses associated with what you wanted to do. How'd you get a handle on it? How did you, approach it without it shutting you down? Like, there are many people in my office who I speak to, this is an important thing to hear, that they come from families who, in many cases, they're first generation college. Okay, so they're the first student in their family, first kid in their family to go. And they don't have, someone who's not in that background to say, hey, it'll all work out, like, we'll figure it out. So, intimidating, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, how'd you get a handle on it? And doing it and pulling it together. Cass, we heard you already, but who else wants to start from this side over here? But how do you handle the expense of pulling this all off?
So my college is around like $47,000 a year. But a big thing is to apply for those scholarships. I didn't apply to that many, but like if you apply to the ones that are like kind of weird, like nobody else applies for them, so like you'll get money from that, and then me and my dad both had to take out a loan.
Good. Who else? Go ahead and tell Steve, you want to go? Go ahead. Yeah, take it.
The way I deal with, I had to get scholarships, and to pay for the $59,000 at St. A's, you just have to keep working hard, keep your grades up to keep those scholarships.
What does your package look like, though? I mean, you got this number, $60,000, right? How does it? Do you have a handle? And I don't mean this. You may not. Hey, folks, you gotta be quiet, please. Okay, I don't want to hear anybody in the audience talking while these guys are talking. Can you just clarify? Like, it's such an abstract number, $59,000.
Right.
Do you have a handle on when all of it falls? Where's it all coming from?
Well, where is it,
Well, how do you pull it all together? How do you pull this number together? Like, how do you pull, some scholarship, obviously, but how do you handle such an intimidating large amount of money?
Well, so much of it is from housing, and my parents agreed to pay for the housing.
Good, okay.
Which I'm lucky, and the rest is student loans, and I'll pay off when I get a job.
Yeah, so how much loans do you have? Do you have a handle on how much you're taking every year?
Not exactly.
Yeah, what would you estimate?
Around 20,000.
Yeah, so you could walk out 80 grand in debt. It's a pretty significant amount of money. How many people here are already out with significant debt? Like Louise, how much debt is yours?
Mine is like 20, but I have tuition.
Al, how about you?
I'm at like 30.
About 30?
I'm at 45.
45,000. Necky was expensive, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was about $40,000 a year.
Yeah, so you all of a sudden you're starting your career off and you got $45,000, $20,000, $30,000 in debt. It's not a bad thing, it's just a factor. Who else? Steve, you want to add something to it?
So, I'm going to say it again, the scholarships is probably one of the biggest things that is going to help you. Scholarships and grants, you don't have to pay those back. Norwich was generous enough to give me, I think it was like $40,000 to pay for most of the school. I got the presidential scholarship from them, and then FAFSA covered a lot more of that, so I only had about 13 for my first year to pay off. So what I did was I talked to my sister, who has a pretty good credit score, so we managed to get a loan for 13. The full loan was $13,000. My mom was giving me, she was telling me every day for at least an hour total every day, you need to go out and apply for loans. You need to go out and apply for loans. You're going to have to apply for a lot of them. You're not going to get them on the first try. You're not going to get your full amount on the first try. I go online and I apply for a loan. I get the full amount first try. It took me 5 minutes. She was like completely confused how I managed to do that. But I thought it was hilarious.
So it's not a typical college loan, it's a personal loan.
Yeah.
So you're going to have out of college maybe about $50,000 in loans you're going to have to take care of, plus or minus.
Roughly somewhat. I think that's going to actually total up to about 25 on that one loan.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I'm just talking total. Yeah, good.
I was really passionate about all things health science, and I was kind of like, I don't really know what I want to do here because I like everything. And I made the decision to go with nursing partially because I really liked it, even a little bit more than I liked everything else, and partially because I knew that after 4 years, I would have a stable, well-paying job pretty much no matter where I went. So one of the ways that I like to think about my debt, which is going to be around $20,000, I think, somewhere in there.
I would say a car. That's about a car.
That's about a car. That's like my car payment for the car I'm paying for right now.
Yep.
So, roughly.
If you can get out, I'll make a quick statement. If you can leave college and have the debt equal to a normal car, you've probably done pretty well.
Yeah, you're
Most
pretty
people
lucky.
agree, graduated, and say that would be a major accomplishment.
Yeah, so I chose nursing partially because I knew I would be able to pay back that debt, like with it was a lot of bang for the buck, so.
Anybody else? Louise down here, want to pass that? I'll take it. Yeah, go ahead. Take it down here.
Can I?
Yeah, go ahead. Please take it.
So going to a community college, it's a little bit cheaper than most of the other colleges, but I get my tuition totally paid for by the Army. I went to basic training 2 weeks after I graduated, and it was a really great decision.
How was basic training?
It was a great experience. It was very painful. I made a lot of great friends. I still stay in touch with them. I learned a lot about myself. I grew as a person, and I don't have the college experience right now because I live at home and go to a community college part-time, but I did get that experience through the military with 60 people in one room and, being around people you don't really like all the time, so there's that.
Did you, is someone in your family in the military, or is this something brand new for your family?
I have great uncles and people I'm not really related to in the military, but I saw an opportunity. I want to go to medical school, and I was like, wow, how the heck am I going to pay for that? And the Guard pays.
Military made sense.
Yeah, it pays 100% of my tuition. I just have to pay for books.
Louise?
As someone who's graduated college and is now actually paying back the loans,
On the other side.
yeah, one thing I would definitely recommend that you do is just really consider all of your options. I was in a position where my mom worked at the school I ended up going to, so I had free tuition. And when I was a senior in high school, I was really stubborn and was like, I'm not going there. I know everything about that school. I don't want to go there. It's not the type of school that I want. But realistically, your education is what you make it, and you should really consider, if you have a scholarship from a school that, maybe it's a great scholarship, but you're not really sure if you want to go there, just go and check it out, because you never know what kind of opportunities could be lurking behind, the facade of the school. And I'm really glad that I ended up going to SNU because I graduated with only $20,000 in debt, and that was only for my housing. I didn't pay a cent towards my actual classes. So just consider all your options. Don't rule anything out based on your preconceptions of what something may or may not be, because for me it ended up being the right decision.
Okay. Last person, anybody, a financial part of it? Yeah. Good.
So for me, like I said before, I work 2 jobs because I'm paying most of my tuition. My parents are helping me out a little bit, which is very nice. But I work as an Alumni and I work at Chipotle. So both of those jobs over the summer really helped a lot. So far, I also received some scholarship and loans from my school. And for studying abroad, I get a $1,000 grant, which will help me out a little bit. But definitely take the opportunities that you can, like studying abroad. You'll probably get a grant for that. At least at my school they do that, so that's what mine's like.
Alex, you want to add something? Or?
Yeah, I just got a small loan of $1 million. That was fantastic. But take advantage of
low interest, right? Low interest.
Exactly. If you can, just take advantage of Running Start. If I did it right, that would have saved me a lot of money. Probably would have taken off a year or a semester, so that was really helpful.
All right, what I want to do is, with just a few minutes left, we'll ask some quick questions, quick answers, help people respond to it. So those of you who are out, those of you who are not in college right now, put your hand up in the air. So tell me about your learning outside of college, right? So here you are in your job, Bedford Village Inn. Do you get training there at Bedford Village Inn? Do you now that you've sort of finished up the sort of formal education piece, what does it look like?
My education never really stops. Food is constantly transforming. Every chef has a new idea. Every chef has a different way of doing things. So when you go to culinary school, you get the basic training about how to do things. And at least in my school, it was the basic French way to do it. But as you grow and you get out of culinary school, your education never really stops. You have constant training. And as you work your way up the ladder, you know, I'm about to be a manager there. So then I'm going to have management training, and that's going to be a whole different part of my career. As well as keep hitting the books. I still go out and get books all the time I'm looking. So I never stop studying. My education never really stops.
And they'll pay for you for manager training at Bedford Village and keep growing you.
I mean, it's not, I'm not going to, I don't do manager courses or anything, but they'll train me through the company.
Through their systems.
Right.
Good. How about you? Go down the line in Oliver, do you get training through Kenworth?
Yeah, I mean, day to day at work, you're always learning something new. Everything is always changing, the technology and everything else. But
Do you travel like Cam? Do you go elsewhere?
yeah, I mean, school in Berlin was great, and I can learn a lot. And
How about on the job now? Do they send
Right,
you off other places?
what I mean by that is like that was a good start, but like what really pertains to what you do every day at work is the stuff that you learn getting sent to school. Like I go to Albany, New York, and we go all over the country for different parts of what we work on.
Do you like it?
Yeah.
Who else? Louise? Outside school?
Yeah, I learned more at 6 months at my company than I learned in all 4 years of college and in the 2 years in the boat program, just because being in a professional environment is completely different than what you're anticipating. But one thing that was important for me when I was looking for a job was to find a company that was willing to teach me things and an environment where I could collaborate with the other designers in the office. And honestly, I think just talking to my coworkers, things like keeping an eye on trends in the industry, like that can only help you grow as well. So just being proactive about doing those kind of things, like Dylan said, like buying books, like doing all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I learned more working in a couple months than I ever thought that I would, and it was really overwhelming at first, but just embrace it. And
You're going to say I learned more in a couple months of working than I did in college?
yeah, that's what I said before.
Oh,
Yeah, I learned more in 6 months working than I did in 4 years of college. So it's just, you absorb information differently when you're actually doing it. So just embrace it. It's really scary at first. The first 2 weeks I was at my job, I literally went into the bathroom and like cried because I was so overwhelmed, but it gets easier and you can get through it. So just embrace the fact that you're going to be learning. You're going to be like information overload, but take the time to process it and it'll all work out.
My last question deals with CRTC. I think it's somewhat obvious, but anybody want to make a quick reflection on your choice to come to CRTC, and did it pay off or not pay off as you've gone down these roads, what you're doing? I mean, obviously there's an audience that has made the same choice, but it might be reinforcing for them. So let's get about 5 people. I'll just pass it to your left, Louise, and let's let Cassie go.
I definitely think coming to CRTC completely paid off for me. Like I was saying to the other group before, we're required to do 2 job shadows, and my second job shadow completely blew my mind wide open to the whole entire industry of hairdressing. Like the guy took me under his wing, took me to New York City. I met some of the top
This is
people
your job
inside the
shadow
industry.
at CRTC?
Yes, this is my job shadow. And then now I'm going to his school, and then he's sending me straight to New York City to work as soon as I'm done. So it completely paid off, and you just kind of have to make sure you get your foot in the door and not be afraid to get your name out there, because that's especially how it's going to happen for cosmetology. And he was saying a lot about culinary too, is that it's constantly changing, it's constantly growing, there's new trends and stuff, so you need to make sure you're always on top of it. And there's not really, I don't really have an end goal. It's always just keeps piling on top of each other after that.
Cam, down there?
Pretty much as Cassie just said, the CRTC program, it kind of gets your foot in the door. It teaches you the basic fundamentals of whatever program you're going through, which 100% paid off with what I do, everything that I learned from the basic stuff in automotive. Right when I started working there and I started doing my online training or just my everyday routine, and I could reflect on, okay, Mr. Mayotte taught me this, or kind of reflect on all the past stuff that he kind of drilled into our head on how something works or what the possibilities could be, and it really makes you think. And then at the same time, you can still each day in your field or whatever, it's it's always going to be a learning experience as long as you put what you learned in CRTC kind of in front of you.
Anybody else want to add to it? Yeah, yes,
Well, I was gonna say, not only like they were saying, it helps you with the industry you're going into, but it also helps you with basic life skills like time management, good work ethic. Especially spurring makes interviews feel like a breeze when you're in front of someone you don't know and you want to cry because it's so scary. It's not as bad once you've done it here a few times with your teacher.
But you had this kid a few times.
She's a little scary sometimes, but she's great.
Gus, pass it down here. Just quick comments, we're gonna wrap up in about 2 minutes.
Just like taking advantage of like dual enrollment, because that brought me in like a semester worth of credits and it'll save me $27,000 in the long run.
Yeah, you earned about 16 credits with us, so it was a huge piece of the puzzle. Good.
CRTC helped in a way of, for cosmetology, we earn the hours, and obviously seniors know that, and with our school, instead of getting tuition off, we're graduating early. So we have 2 girls in our class that have never touched cosmetology. They've never been in a vocational program. So we're graduating pretty much 2 to 3 months earlier than they are because I walked out with 300 something hours and they're walking in with literally 0. So that was a good thing about CRTC for me.
Good. Yep.
Yeah, so CRTC helped me gain the confidence to like ask for what I wanted. Recently, I took my maternity class and went to the hospital, helped deliver a few babies. It was incredible. I was like, these are my people. Like, this is what I want to do. I love this. So I worked at the hospital and I tried to get a shadowing opportunity in the labor and delivery unit. And they were like, oh, no, we don't let people shadow there. So I went to the unit and I walked up to them and I was like, so I'm Heather and I'm going to be an L&D nurse one day and would you please help me shadow? And they were like, we're really short-staffed. Why don't you come work for us? So I might be switching over to that unit soon. We'll see. But this program really helped me gain the confidence to just like go find the people I wanted things from and ask them for the things I wanted. So
Next week, or week after next, I'm going to Indianapolis for a national meeting about what's called work-based learning. And I'm a believer in this, and you guys reinforce it for me. The second you sort of get out in the field and begin interacting with people in the field, it changes your perspective, I think, on everything you do. I mean, listen to Oliver talk earlier. I mean, almost everybody here said the same thing. It's like, CRTC gave me a taste of it. I have a professional teacher, somebody in the field. But then when I get out in the field, I meet people, all of a sudden my education sort of comes together. There's a purpose to what I'm doing. And I think schools struggle with that model. I think most schools, you just, okay, you're taking this class, you're taking this class, what's next? How do we, switch it so that it's being driven by an experience? I get a laugh that a lot of teaching colleges in the old days used to make you do 3 years of classes, whatever. Year 1, year 2, year 3 in college. And year 4, you do student teaching, get on the field and do it. A lot of people quit because they just spent 3 years doing learning, but finally got in the field, they realized this is not for me. And so I think all you guys, if I did one theme I heard was how much benefit you got from getting out in the field, getting a taste of things, gave you focus. So what we're going to do at this point, usually I do question and answer, but time's a little tight. All these folks are going to go back to your classroom, so you have time to talk to them there. I want to ask you to give a big round of applause for our alumni. Many of you have seen this twice already, and we need you to come back as part of the cycle. So at this point, I thank you guys. I'm going to excuse everybody, go back to the classes, and alumni will join you there.
Well, I'm